One of the craziest things women have been conditioned to do is plan our lives around fantasy dudes, ghosts, right? Don't, make sure that you keep your body count low because, a husband wouldn't want a woman with a high point. Good. I can't even count how many dudes I've for. I'm so proud of that fact. Be careful what you post, right? Because a future husband might look at your social media and be like, good. I hope he sees how much I hate men, the collective, because men individually that I know are so much better than that, and I know men can be better. And I want what's better for them and for us, so they stop killing us. Oh, maybe I should plan my career or whether I want a house or where I live and blah, 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 around a literal ghost. A ghost! Oh, maybe I won't take a year off to go travel and do all this stuff because what if I was going to meet my husband? Maybe I'll go to this country and meet a husband. It is so ridiculous. And here's the thing. Not only have all of the movies been conditioning us to do this and our culture, society, and people in our lives, but they have a Christmas movie that makes a woman so pathetic that she literally falls in love with a ghost. This crazy movie, The Spirit of Christmas, is maybe one of the most insulting things I've ever seen. And yet is actually not surprising at all because this is what we've been taught. So my friend Therese Lee she's the one who brought this to my attention. The premise of this movie is that this lawyer ditches her job for a man who literally evaporates after Christmas. So Kate is a workaholic lawyer who has 3 weeks to get a haunted bed and breakfast appraised and sold. The uncooperative manager claims a spirit who lives there will not approve. With Kate's possible promotion resting on accomplishing this task, she checks it and haggles with an aforesaid Christmas spirit who suspiciously seems awfully solid for a ghost. This emotionally frigid attorney, Oh my God, I have balsamic vinegar on my nose. When I tell you I don't look in the mirror until I literally do this, I'm not joking. How embarrassing! It's the syrupy kind that I put on top of salmon for my breakfast. Anyway, this frigid workaholic, just like Cameron Diaz in the Christmas holiday. Remember, she couldn't cry. She worked too much. And the only thing that could solve her emotionally stunted, dead inside career woman problem is a man with a dead wife and therefore 2 small children that she can parent, and a man who cries so much, that will make her more human. I swear, the way they have been associating with successful women with, frigid, can't cry, workaholic, good, just, not feminine in terms of the maternal instinct, but they also have to be beautiful at the same time. Emotionally frigid reluctantly accepts the interview assignment to get a reputedly haunted inn appraised and sold by the year's end. It's too hard to read that way. Here we go. Now you can look at my dog. By and by, she meets Daniel, the resident ghost, who for the past 95 years inexplicably returns to life each December during the 12 days of Christmas. Okay, so hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. Kate has only one logical recourse for their mutual benefit. Break the curse that binds him. But falling for a man almost a century her senior isn't a Okay, there's a few, he is almost a century her senior. Do you think this man is a good man? Do you think this man is a super feminist? Because 95 years ago, these women were property. Do you think she's compatible with a man from 95 years ago where women could barely vote? Well, white women could barely vote. Black women didn't secure the right to vote truly until the 60s because of the civil rights movement. But the crazy part about this is that this ghost appears for 12 days a year. And as Therese says, who wouldn't want to get emotionally entangled with a cursed ghost? So it's not just a ghost. This is a ghost that is cursed. He's kind of a dick too. And this is just from the trailer. Basically, she's going to see him the same time next year and the next year and the next year and the next year. I don't know. I don't understand why. I can't make myself watch this movie unless y'all really want me to. But 12 days a year, she is going to give up her job, or she's going to go sacrifice everything to be with a man. She gets to see 12 days a year, a man from 95 years ago with that mentality where, again, birth control, no fault divorce, bank accounts, credit cards, like, what? When I tell you they keep putting women in these Christmas movies and just rom-coms in general with men they are absolutely not compatible with. Not compatible with at all. Much like not only is she dating down, y'all are not compatible. This is worse than marrying the worst MAGA. All right? And in part of the trailer, she also says, I'll wait for you. You know what's crazy? In the movie Big, I reviewed that a couple years ago. That woman who falls in love with a teenager who's in a man's body, but a teenager, she says more or less that she'll wait for him. What? Like women have the time to wait, like our prospects are so bad, which they are in terms of partnering, but as if being single isn't an alternative. They'd rather see a man 12 days a year who's a ghost the rest of the time and only becomes, what, you're only going to fork for 12 days out of the year? You're only got, like, what? Or you're going to wait for this, like, 13-year-old boy, I think he's 13, right? To grow up until, so you got to wait, what? Because, you know, his brain, 25 until his brain is somewhat like, but then you are going to be, what? You know, Big, maybe I'll repost some of that stuff. Big was so insulting. This woman was so successful, but she was so desperate. She was willing to date this loser who was so immature and she couldn't have adult conversations with. Do you know what? They've been doing this for forever, but especially in like the 80s and beyond, they keep reminding women now that you have your little jobs, your silly little careers that give you a lot of purchasing power and you have options now. They're like, you know what? You can have your silly little job. At the end of the day, you're nothing without a man. And you know what? You might as well settle for a 13-year-old boy in a man's body or a ghost or date a really hot widower on the other side of the world and give up your career to become a mom of 2 girls. But in the process of all this, you'll discover the power of love. No, you will discover the power of self-abandonment. You'll discover the power of limerence, untreated childhood trauma maybe. You'll discover the power of self-hatred and lack of self-respect. There's no way this woman fell in love with a ghost from 100 years ago in however many days this was. He has to sell the end to set him free. And this guy's always like, oh, you can't see it here. He's like carving an apple a lot. And he's such a jerk. He's such a jerk. Even in the trailer, he seems like a douche. So, you know, I know I'm ruining a lot of y'all's Christmas movies or a lot of your movies. I'm not trying to kill your childhood here. I actually still enjoy watching a lot of this stuff. But it's funny to me. And when I watched Ghost again, it enraged me, and yet I still cried. I still enjoyed watching it, but I laughed at it, a lot of it, because I was like, this is so ridiculous. And you know what? I'm not saying you can't enjoy these movies. I just want us to understand, look at these critically and see at the end of the day, there is a subtext to these. And the subtext is, you're a loser. If you got a good job, you got money, but you don't have a man, and you don't have a kids, you're a loser. And so they've had women for the longest time. We've been planning our lives around an imaginary man, a man who doesn't even exist. We've been planning our careers, our school, where we live, what we do, how we look, our social media presence, like, you know, saving ourselves, like not like living our best lives, because that might hurt our chance of getting a ghost boyfriend or a ghost husband that may actually never appear. So please, you know what? It is hard to face this stuff because the more you look at it, the more angry you get, because you're like, oh my God, look what they've been doing to us. And yet, I think it's important because then I don't hate myself for as much as I've been. All of my pick-me-ism doesn't feel as such a personal failure, but rather the natural result of indoctrination and manipulation on a massive scale of all of us. And then I don't hate myself as much. I give myself some grace. And then I start pushing back about this stuff that's in here at this point. Anyway, let me know what y'all think.